Hello strategy gaming enthusiasts, my name is AlzaboHD. In today's challenge video, we are in Norway of 802 AD, but this isn't CK3. Welcome to Norse, Oath of Blood, a turn-based tactics game where XCOM meets Viking warfare. We will play the Alzabo way by forging a warband with the highest difficulty, attempt to settle a city while being invaded by furries, and survive and thrive in a world where an arrow to the knee could end you permanently. The developers at Tripwire Interactive have sponsored and challenged me to become King of the North, and you can join me on PC by picking up Norse Oath of Blood using the link on screen and in the description box below. It's Val time to put the pain in campaign by going hard and stepping into the shoes of Gunnar Gripsen and his sister Sigrid Gripsdottir. Our story starts in the Norwegian town of Boars in 802 AD, with two Scandinavian siblings who are set to change the course of Norse story. Gunnar and Sigrid of the Gripe dynasty share a friendly rivalry, but that all changes when the Fire Nation led by Steinar invade their city and lay claim to the Jarldom of their father. War never changes, and our heroes are helpless to stop the siege, arriving only to find that they were too late to save the patriarch of their polity. Separatist rebels led by Steinar have killed Jarl Agrippa, setting forth a series of events that leads to Gunnar and Sigrid fleeing the village with the help of Arn, the Thane spearman of Boars. Escape would not be easy, so we'll grab some tendies and break a few eggs to make an omelette Norwegian. Everything and everyone they've ever known is dead or dying, and hope lay in the oars of a small boat contested between those loyal to the Grip dynasty and the upstart Jarl Steinar. Gunnar Gripsen and Sigrid Gripsdottir have little choice but to embark and flee to the lands of their mother's brother, in the hopes that their uncle can aid in their quest to avenge their father. Armed with only angst and a leaky rowboat, they set out to the southern coast of Norway, and there was no way Steinar would get away with his scheming and foul play. Gunnar's gang arrived in the port of Kaupang with heavy hearts and a sinking feeling that family bonds might be relative. This town is empty, and the longhouse loomed ahead with the head of the holding playing proto-chess and getting sloppy. Jarl Egil knew instinctively that trouble had befallen his sister's family, but when asked by Gunnar for aid, our hero was met with empty words and bitter disappointment. Our Jarl uncle, or Yunkel, refused to lend soldiers as he considers our warband inexperienced and unblooded. He callously offered his nephew title to a worthless swamp he won in wrestling, with the hollow words that he might help later if we are stronger and somehow still alive. Humorously, Egil did offer complimentary our quest, and insisted that we hunt boar with him before rowing into Bogtown. Sticks and stones might break boar bones, but these weapons were flimsy, and Gunnar doubted that this so-called uncle had his best intentions in mind. They set out to search for bacon and found pigs to poke and barrels of silver to loot, all the while enduring the side commentary of their mother's brother. Another mother, this one of oinker disposition, stood in their path, but even a cool name like Bloodfang meant little when it meant putting pork on the table. Unfortunately, mealtime would have to wait, as soldiers sent by Steinar ambushed our party and demanded Egil to relinquish Gunnar and Sigrid, but perhaps unexpectedly, our Yunkel did not stand aside and joined our banner in defense. These traitors were to be skewered like the swine they were, and the Jarl shot the final blow by bow. Victory granted us experience, and it's time to bid farewell. In keeping with tradition, Egil granted Gunnar a tiny raft, a fish witch, and two men convicted of crimes, as if these were some sort of benefit. Nevertheless, it is a boat time we start our saga and set sail, as only time would tell if our uncle would help us in our quest to reclaim the domain of our dynasty. Our father is dead, and our uncle is a prick, but with the convicts and canoe granted to our heroes, we arrived upon the shores of a savage land. Here, our warband encountered shrubberies speaking Swedish, which revealed a peasant family. The farmer, Holte, his seamstress wife, Gerlok, and their two children, Slapa and Slupi, were hiding from raiders, but did offer to help Gunnar settle this land in exchange for giving them a hand with the bandits squatting their farmland. Viking traditions call for the acquisition of anything not bolted down, and it's time to pray to win and attain the blessing of Tyre. Hiking in Norway is dangerous, particularly in 803 AD, and soon Gunnar and his merry gang came across brigands who threatened a spear-wielding stranger. Deployment is a mechanic we have not yet encountered, and allows us to choose where to place our units, and here we'll form a front line to flank these felons. That barefoot brother from another mother might die before we can intervene, so we must act swiftly. Teamwork tactics are crucial for success at this level of difficulty, and our aggressive push ensured victory, saved the cornered man from slavery, and recruited him for a final push into enemy territory. If you by some chance ever find yourself wounded in Norway, be sure to eat berries off the ground, which are logically stronger than any bandage in battle. Further up the road, the bandits made little effort to conceal their encampment, and were going to crash their party. It is no surprise that the baddest brigand is bald and bankrupt, and we are outnumbered 9-6. The stakes have never been higher, literally, and Gunnar deployed his warband into a choke point formation and prepared for battle. The key to fighting in unfavorable conditions is to cripple the enemy and focus fire to cut them down individually. Arn is a freak of nature and single-handedly axes acuted soldier after soldier, with each kill refunding his energy to strike again, but our barefoot boy is at 1 HP and only a strike away from dying permanently. The gods must favor this Norwegian Neo, though the same cannot be said of Gunnar, who was tragically struck down by Boss Baldi. In Norse Oath of Blood, you only have one chance to save a fallen unit as they enter the gates of Valhalla, and any strike at 0 HP will delete them permanently. Arn alone is sworn to protect the Gripson dynasty, and miraculously bandaged Gunnar, affording him the time needed to bandage himself and avoid medieval life expectancy. 2 enemies remain on the field of battle, and thankfully we have a battle toad, aka Berserker, that can leap 10 meters and send the surviving foe into Sovngarde. It's time to free the invisible farmers from captivity and secure victory, awarding us leather, chicken tenders, a barefoot boy, and hardcore Highstein. Despite this win, Gunnar suffers wounds that even beer cannot cure, but with the help of Hurti's family, he learned that this humble holding held the name of Sudrvik, and he set out to develop his new domain. Gunnar Gripson is now Jarl to his very own town that consists of a barn and a Torfdak shack to house 8 people that will need to share one bed and a spindle of hay. Our steamy seamstress is not willing to host a cuddle puddle and suggests a shantytown edition of tents within a makeshift camp, which requires an investment of wood, leather, oil, and the toil of everyone not named Gunnar Gripson. In order to produce buildings, armor, or weapons, one must pass turns, which marks the passage of time, and our new yurt has space for 6 of our citizens if we stack them vertically. Fortunately, we can use this time to skill up our sword sisters and brothers with new abilities, but half of our people have no boots, so we'll need to use leather to craft them kickers and grant them each a pair to wear to provide shoes, shirts, and service. All armor provides boosts like dexterity or HP, so we will craft hats and prepare for our first expedition from Sudrvik by investing a disturbance in the forest. Scavengers and raiders populate this land, and Gunnar offered his hand to protect a merchant maiden and her wooden wagon. We'll need to set up a perimeter to protect the trader and her wares, as these thieves reinforce wave after wave, and hopefully save Asmar from dying in a ditch by bandaging his wounds. His berserker bro Bulti intercepted the bandits that remained by leaping to victory, securing Gunnar yet another maiden to join the yurt he shared with 6, now 7, other stinky Scandinavians. It's time to scoot and loot her riches in the name of reparations, and we now have oil, fiat currency, and the experience gain needed to unlock new abilities. Christians were coming, and without provisions our city was starving. So Sigrid and Gunnar set out on a mission to hunt elk, or potentially eat something far worse. Unfortunately for our heroes, a homeless hunter took their tendies, but did offer scraps so long as we agreed to help him take down his friendly neighborhood shaman cult, known as the Sons of the Wolf. The most dangerous game is hunting for humans, or in this case, humans LARPing as a lupine legion. Evidently, these furries aren't keen on hospitality, but they're kind enough to light a fire and chant creepy songs to show us the way to their encampment. Not everyone wants to be a part of this dinner party, and Sigrid shot an arrow to save a captive from becoming prionic protein. There's 3 of us and 7 of them, so we must deploy strategically and use the cultist kennel cages to funnel the dogs into Valhalla. This is a question of quality versus quantity, and ironically, the Wolf Boys have their own drummer to punctuate the beat of their impending defeat. It's time to introduce the drummer to metal, while Sigrid sends out her arrows, yielding only the canine-in-chief as the final foe yet to fall. Ulfhai then welcomed an arrow to his knee and neck, and before his death spoke to Gunnar of Fenrir and warned of retribution and vengeance in the form of a wolf mother. Fortunately, we were able to save Isa from becoming a Scooby snack, and she decided to join us as our second berserker. Our victory also secured our squad experience and the rank of Bondi, the Norse equivalent of the middle class. But without oil, we are unable to build ironworks or develop our village into anything more than tents and a barn. Purple rain had fallen upon our domain, and as we lack oil, we can't construct the infrastructure Sudrvik needs to attain sustainability, or even the ability to feed our population. Fortunately, iron, oil, and freedom lie just to the north, and with Gunnar, Sigrid, and our 2 berserkers on deck, it's time to appropriate resources via liberty. It is humorous how we can yoink the food of the man we set out to save, all the while he praises our so-called honor. We're here for your fish, and the neighbors will have to get in line for their dead, as the strong do what they can, and the weak suffer what they must. Hippity-hoppity, you won't eat my property, and reinforcements were converted into fertilizer before our Leapy Legion saved the day with anger, axes, and girl bossing. Liquid gold and food are back on the menu, but we'll need more if Sudrvik is to smith iron, and thus it's time to Shrek out the swamps to our east. Imagine for a moment that the average 9th century peasant bathes twice a year, and now imagine the odoriferous offense that a bog poacher must inflict on the nostrils of our Norse heroes. If these swamp ogres will not sell us the metals we need, we will pay the iron price and shower these stinky troglodytes with axe and blade in hand. The berserker baddie we rescued from the wolves has surpassed all expectations, and Goomba stomps the opposition with ease, and before long, round 1 was in the proverbial bag. The only thing standing between us and ferric fortune is the capital of the Marshmen and an army of bog metal mongers. Arrows, axes, and attacks of opportunity led us to victory and materialistic prosperity. At last we have the items needed to build our blacksmith his own smithy, our fishmonger her own hovel, along with a marketplace, a hunting shack, and a harbor to welcome all the merchants from abroad. Speaking of abroad, Gunnar received an invitation to feast with his next-door Jarl, and accepted without hesitation, but it doesn't take an admiral to realize this was a trap. There's nothing quite like Norwegian hospitality, particularly when your host accepts bribes from the man who killed your father and usurped your titles. We are surrounded and soon to be pounded by outlaws that outnumber us and want our heads. They're really strong, particularly how their blessing of Loki allows them to one-shot our spearmen, but that's nothing a bandage can't fix, though a second fall means we might soon see Sovngarde and a journey to Helgen. Focusing this enemy favored by the gods is priority number 1, and Arn is happy to give him a hand, but the arrival of reinforcements means the battle is far from finished. The only way forward is to lock the Jarl into a double engagement, from which our berserker Isa can tattoo his back with hatchets, followed by Sigrid deleting the final foe with her bow hunting skills. The feast had ended, and a bizarre bard emerged from hiding, gesticulating and pointing at a corpulent carving he claimed was that of Frida Vorsedottir. It turns out Frida isn't just a plus-size statue, but is in fact a ginger girl boss, intent on finishing the feast her Jarl had started. She has 48 HP, is hangry, and wants to mount both our corpse and that of our late father.
going to fuck you and fuck your father!
Attacking Frau Frito in melee range is a recipe for certain death and chiropractic adjustment. So we need to keep our range and use Sigrid to send arrows into her knee while bandaging those unfortunate enough to meet the opposite end of her battle axe. Thankfully, we did arm Gunnar with throwing axes and can close the gap once she is mortally wounded, but unfortunately, my medieval recording software missed the first frames of her execution. While none of our Vikings died, they did inherit a lifetime of debilitating wounds, an obnoxious bard, and a distinct lack of midsummer cheer. At least wood was back on the menu, fortuitous, as we have nothing else edible until the advent of fishmongers who will hopefully feed the needs of our perilous polity. It's close to midnight and something evil's lurking in the dark, cause this is Thriller Night. It turns out those sons of the wolf we Jacksoned earlier are back for more, and this time they sent a Volva, or Norse witch. Party time is over, and our inebriated and injured heroes survived assassination, but our nation was under attack, and no one knew who let the dogs out. These wolf boys and wolfettes outnumber our garrison by a factor of 3, but apparently no one taught them to stop, drop, and roll. By fire, these furries shall be purged, and with combined arms, our militia pressed towards the wolf mother herself. One of our spear brothers was dying from blood loss, 8 more lupine larpers came to town, and the only way to survive was through bandages and execution, which allows us to heal multiple times within the same turn. The only way to defeat a wolf is to think like a beast and pass the meat, but even axing these interlopers a question in the form of a hatchet to the head was not enough to strike them dead. Our dear sister Sigrid shot the final blow to fell these foes, and they ran away like dogs in heat. But before their retreat, their Volva left a totem in the form of a nithing pole, which lay a curse upon our lands. Only the hands of the Wolf Mother could place or erase this relic, and vowing revenge, our tribe scored a Pyrrhic victory with more than half of our soldiers suffering under severe injury. With blight upon our barony and no fish to sustain our wounded warriors, it's time to take a look at our situation in 803 AD. It's turn 23 and our rivers run red, either due to the sons of the wolf or to sheep-shagging farmers further upstream. We will not return the slab, and thus we must suffer the curse and endure a juche diet, as both crop fertility and urban industry have grinded to a halt. Gunnar Gripsen and his sister Sigrid Gripsdottir lead a motley crew of 12 struggling soldiers consisting of shield maidens, spearmen, berserkers, and Hardstein, who is likely the brother of Highstein of Montaigu. Sudrvik is small and surrounded by allies and outlaws, but our ancestral homeland of Boars lies under the dominion of Steinar and the man who killed our father. Only reinforcements in the form of carrier pigeon commentary will decide if we can push this campaign further, and you can support me and our Viking fraternity for free by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Support AlzaboHD and get Norse Oath of Blood today on PC using my link on screen and in the description box below, and I'd like to thank Tripwire Interactive for sponsoring today's video. Equally, I'd like to give my thanks to my channel members and Patreon supporters like you who make these videos possible. Skål, it's time now to toast a glass of mead and invoke their name and deed in the credits.